What's up, everybody? You like that new intro? Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. Well done, tech boys in the back. St. Nicholas and the artist formerly known as I Look Like Russell Brand. They're doing pretty good back there. Pretty proud of them. That's nice stuff. A lot happened this last week in sports, and I know everyone out there is interested to hear my opinion on all of those. And so, you know what? We're going to just jump straight in to the sports that happened this last weekend. And then the rest of the podcast, I'm going to spend breaking down the first round of the NFL draft. I've gone back, watched a lot of tape again. And this time I watched a lot of tape on the teams who were drafting, as well as the players who were drafted specifically by those teams, so I could further evaluate, just exactly how I think those pieces are going to fit in with the teams that drafted them. And listen, I was watching a whole bunch of stuff on ESPN and on just a bunch of different sport networks. I've watched a bunch of different people talk about the draft, and let me be honest with you, people are too easy on these NFL teams. So I'm going to give you the real deal, how awful some of these are, how good some of them are, and we'll just see. We'll see what kind of shakes loose there. But to start things off, this is Letterman's Thoughts on Sports and other stuff. So we're just going to start it off. Biggest thing that happened this weekend, Kentucky Derby. Listen, I don't really like horses very much. I have ridden them. I don't get the appeal of them. I know a lot of people love the Kentucky Derby. They're really all about it. It's a giant day of gambling, which I totally enjoy, so I did make a bit of money. Actually, let me tell you about this story that happened here. So everybody at this point should know what happened in the Kentucky Derby. Horse, maximum security, he wins the Kentucky Derby, all that. Oh my gosh, he's done it. He's won this thing. Then it comes back, they appeal because they're saying that he interfered with a different horse. And I'm not exactly sure. Like, supposedly he clipped another horse's, like he blocked him off so that he could stay further. This is horse racing. Like, what did you expect a horse to do? Like, did you think the horse was going to just get out of the way? Because I don't know if you know this about horses, but they don't really have, like, eyes in the back of their head to look behind them. And most of the riders are not looking back going, let me make sure that these guys are all safe behind me. Like, they are, especially if you're in the front. I mean, maximum security was in the front of the freaking race the whole day. This dude was in the front of the race the entire, he started off at the beginning and finished at the beginning, leading the whole race, and supposedly he's drifting and getting in the way of other horses, thwart of the wheel or whatever, and then that horse has to change course. They're racing. Like, it's been raining. The ground is covered in mud. I'm pretty sure this horse didn't look back and go, oop, better scoot over so these guys don't pass me. Like, I just don't understand how you think a horse can cheat, but I think it would make an excellent movie. I think we should figure out how to make a movie about a horse who specifically decides the only way he can win. He's actually like one of the slowest horses, but he's so good at cheating that he's able to win. And we should call it the Letterman story as a horse. Because I think I would love to watch a horse cheat. I think that'd be the only entertaining to watch horses racing, is if one of them was cheating and they were all trying to fight each other while they're doing it. Because let's be honest, this is a bunch of horses who ride like a lap and a half around a little tiny ring. And for some reason, we think this is like the most exciting sport in the world. People wear the most ridiculous clothes and hats, and dudes are short like tiny little guys are riding on horses in brightly colored clothes. And truthfully, I am not a fan of the Kentucky Derby whatsoever. I just think it's dumb. I think it's boring to watch. I find zero excitement in that sport. That being said, the gambling side of the Kentucky Derby is quite exciting to me. Because, you got like little old grandmas who are going out to suddenly gamble upon a sporting event. And they're probably like normally at church like, saying that they hate gambling and that it's a horrible thing and that all these people are going to go to hell and all that stuff. And then they go to the Kentucky Derby and they put on their fancy hat with giant pink flowers and all sorts of weird stuff moving around on it and all these things. And it's bigger than their entire body. And they sit there and they're like, oh, it's fun because it's the Kentucky Derby. I'm going to put $20 down. And then, you know what? Their horse wins and they're like, I just made $6,000. What a happy day I am. And that's the thing. You get these people who go from being what I would consider hypocrites, they're hypocrites at this point. Like, that's what they have become, because they've gone from being completely against gambling to being really excited that they won money at the Kentucky Derby. I'm very excited that I won money at the Kentucky Derby. I did not originally, because my horse came in fourth, so I was not going to win very much money. And then Maximum Security got disqualified, and my horse, Tacticus, moved up and came in third after actually coming in fourth. So then I get money. And that's really exciting because, well, honestly, if you're in gambling and you are not about winning money, then are you really in gambling for anything that's, true to the art form? That's the thing about gambling. It is an art form. And so all those people who show up and want to gamble that one day at the Kentucky Derby and drop their $3 down or whatever, they don't really know what they're doing. They've just walked in, they found a horse with a fancy name, and they're like, here we go, have fun. And I just don't love that. However, those of us who do enjoy gambling and the art form that it is find the Kentucky Derby very interesting. I will say, I would never want to study horses, and so I do somewhat come in a little bit blinder than I like to in most sports in my gambling. But, it's Kentucky Derby. You gotta have some fun with it. So, that's kind of my thoughts on the Kentucky Derby. Truthfully, I've never seen a horse downfield block, so at this point, until I can see one do that, I'm not really going to be that interested in them. And I'm sticking to that idea and to that commitment. That's my commitment, and I'm sticking to it. On to more interesting sports. My main man, Cowboy Cerrone, got a big win this weekend over Al Iaquinta and yet again called out Conor McGregor. Honestly, Conor's become a coward at this point. He doesn't want to fight anymore. He's dealing with all sorts of his own problems. He's basically become an Irish mafia member. So if I'm Cowboy Cerrone, I'm just going like, I'll keep calling you out, Conor, because I'm going to keep making you look dumb. But what I'm really saying is, Dana White, you giant, bald-looking Hulk, Dave Bautista wannabe, give me a championship shot. Because here's the deal. You're not going to fight Conor. And Cowboy Cerrone, you probably don't really need to fight most of the greats in that weight class. So if I'm Cowboy Cerrone, I'm just being happy. I'm like, give me a fight. I'm going to keep asking for it because my fans are going to like it, and that's your life. Iaquinta, I'm really sorry that you suck and that, it didn't work out for you this time. Keep working. You're from New York, so I don't really care about you very much. This dude's called Cowboy, so that's way more exciting to me than whatever you are. So, yeah, congratulations to you, Cowboy Cerrone. Big win at the UFC event this weekend. Now, on to the NBA. This might be an opinion that I will regret saying, but for the first time in my life, I went and actually looked up how many point guards and great players in this year's tournament came from the SEC, and it is very little, and that breaks my heart. I may stop watching the NBA for a while because there's too many of these guys, number one, who did not play in the SEC, so I know they don't know the real grind. And the problem is, I still enjoy the game. This is the real issue, is that I'm enjoying watching basketball without any of those people being from the SEC, and that's causing me to have a bit of an identity crisis. Now, I know for a fact that not being from the SEC makes you weak-ass at football and doesn't make you great at basketball. But maybe there is something to some other conferences, and I don't know what to do with that. I think I'm going to have to dig into that a little bit more and dig into who I am. Because I have been, if you have ever looked at my Twitter, you have ever listened to my podcast, you have ever seen a Periscope, you know I am SEC diehard to the heart and core of who I am. But there's not really very many SEC players in this tournament. Not a ton. There may not be any left. And that hurts me real deep and cuts me to the quick. So I got to be honest with you. Between the mix of non-SEC players and people from Europe and Canada, there's a whole team that plays in Canada from Toronto. You think I want to watch them play against Joel Embiid, who's also not from America? No, I don't want to watch that. Tobias Harris is the only real starter anywhere that's actually from an SEC team, and he played for like three quarters of a season at Tennessee. He didn't even play the whole year. So, like, how SEC is that? Oh my. You're looking out, you look at the Golden State Warriors and all that they do, and you're like, we all know they're going to win. They've got literally arguably the three best players in the NBA. I'll say this, though. I do not believe that Steph Curry is the best point guard in the NBA. Like, if I were to take a point guard right here and now, looking at this tournament, and I said, okay, I got to pick a point guard off of all these teams, and he's going to be the dude I build my team around, it won't be Steph Curry, and it won't be Kyrie Irving. And this, a lot of people now will be like, oh, yeah, this opinion is fair. Look at the games he's been. But no, I'm telling you right now for a fact that Damian Lillard, he did not play in the SEC. But dude plays like he played in the SEC. I need to go and look back at his college career and I need to go look at his college career and see who all he played. But let me tell you something right now. That man has balls. And I respect balls. Truthfully, I do. I respect the giant brass balls that say, hey, I realize I'm 38 feet from the goal, but I'm going to pull up anyways in the face of Paul George, and I'm going to dagger them and their asses back to Oklahoma City. I'm just going to send them home. I'm done with this. We're in my town, and I'm going to knock it out. And I respect that. That is big, bald basketball playing, and I like it. That's how I'd like to play basketball. That's how I play basketball. Is balls out all the way, no holds bar. Listen, I'll pull up from 38 feet. I can do that. I may not sink it like Dame, but I'll get pretty close. So, I gotta be honest. I'm kind of honestly cheering for like Portland and I don't know. Milwaukee is who I've bet on, so I have to continue to cheer for them. I've put a lot of money into the Milwaukee Bucks and believing a whole lot in Giannis's ability because, I trust what I heard. Okay? He may have been dead, but he gave me good advice. Okay? So, thank you, John. Thank you, John Wooden, for what you said about Giannis. I've done it. I put the money down, and I tell you what, dude's a freak. That he earned that nickname. But also, he's from Greece, so that also, again, like, I'm cheering for a man from Greece. Now, I'm anti-Greece in Little League football. I really am. But I guess in basketball, between him and Jokic and a couple other foreign players, Embiid, honestly, it's kind of fun watching some of these foreign players play basketball. They're pretty good. See, my voice even cracked there because I'm so emotionally distraught about all this. I don't know what to do. I'm watching these guys play. They're not from America. They're pretty good. Then I watch them do their press conferences, and Jokic goes and he breaks the microphone. He's like, I don't know how to fix this. And if that doesn't say a couple of concussions and problems with your head, then I don't know what does. So I got to respect that part of his game. And just honestly, I don't know what else to do looking at the NBA and the amount of non-SEC and European affluence that's going through that whole league. Some dudes going straight from high school straight into the NBA. Others are like spending just a short amount of time in college, then going to the NBA. And I get it. They pay you a lot of money, and I understand that. But I don't know what to do with all this, people. So weigh in. I'm gonna put out a. I want you all to message me if you listen here on the podcast. I want you to tweet at 3-Year Letterman, okay, and give me your opinion. Is the NBA too European / non-SEC to watch anymore? Because I'm still enjoying watching the game, even though these guys are not who I want to watch. They're not SEC caliber players, and a bunch of them are not from America. So I need your opinion. So tweet at me. Tweet at me at 3-Year Letterman on if the NBA is too European and non-SEC to watch anymore. Because I honestly don't know. So tweet at me, give me your thoughts, and throw in the hashtag American Grind Matters. Okay? Hashtag American Grind Matters at 3-Year Letterman. Just give me your opinions. Is the NBA too European / non-SEC for watching? Because again, I just don't know, and this is causing me a lot of restless nights. And listen, I sleep on a waterbed. I love my waterbed. It's the most comfortable thing in the entire world. But when you start getting a restless sleep and you're rocking and rolling and stuff, you start feeling like you're sleeping on the ocean, which is great, right up until you get seasick. And it's harder to clean the waterbed once you throw up on it a little bit because, as you know, I'm training for the 100-shot challenge coming up next week. And that whole training, my stomach's a little bit messed up because of what Newbert's been forcing down my throat so much is just, golly. You feel your balls suck up into you and drop even further than they did when you were going through puberty. It's just something else, drinking that stuff. And so my stomach was already kind of messed up with all that. I was having a lot of antacids that I was having to take, which is rough. I do not like antacids. I don't believe in them. But I'm taking them because, honestly, I can't sleep otherwise. And then I can't sleep because I got all these thoughts running through my head. And that whole mix together, rolling around on a waterbed, just really upset my stomach. And, I threw up a little bit last night while I was on my bed. And we got to get this fixed. So tweet at me, at 3-Year Letterman, give me your opinion, and use that hashtag American Grind Matters. That's pretty much all that really happened in sports this last weekend. In terms of other stuff, somebody told me about Nick Jonas running off and getting married. Listen, I don't listen to music. The only music I listen to is bluegrass music and hard rock. That's pretty much it. So I have never listened to a single Jonas Brothers song. Honestly, I don't even know who it is. However, he did run off of Sophie Turner, who is in the greatest television show that has ever been created in Game of Thrones. So I know her, and they ran off on some kind of wedding thing, and it really broke my heart because, Sophie, honestly, I'm made for you, so I don't know what you're doing. That was bad choice on your part. You lost out on a youth coaching legend and got yourself some mediocre boy band star. That's rough. I've heard he's not even the most talented Jonas brother, so Sophie, step down on your part, and that's really sad to me because we could have been great together. Game of Thrones episode, a little disappointing, honestly. My football team was disappointed. Chubbs 2.0 came up to me and was like, "Coach, where's the blood? Where's the guts? Where's the violence? Where's all that stuff going? What is this?" And I just looked at him and I said, "I don't know, but for questioning Game of Thrones, you owe me 32 laps around the football field." Then he got this little grin on his face. Chubbs 2.0 is a glutton for punishment. Not only is he a glutton for eating, he's a glutton for punishment. So he went out on the field and just started running. And then some of his teammates saw, and they were so bored with the episode, they went out and started running as well. Which, for every one of them, I added on another lap. And so since 40 kids walked outside to go and run, they had another 40 laps added on top of Chubbs 2.0's 37 he was already running. So that gives you 77 laps there running around. And honestly, Game of Thrones, I'm appreciative for the fact that you got me to be able to condition my team. But truthfully, I'm just negative movement on your part. negative episode. Not the greatest, but it is what it is. I will not see Avengers Endgame. People have been asking me like what my thoughts on that. I've never watched a single one of the Marvel movies. It's just not real. They're not real heroes like I am, and so because of that, I don't respect them. Any other stuff that really happened this weekend, I didn't really care about. Had some good practice. Saturday was a good practice day. We had a lot of real growth that I saw come from a couple players. We played the entire practice with. I actually got this from Newbert. We tied glass bottles to our hands, and we played the entire practice with glass bottles. And many kids are at school today with cuts all over their body. And of that, and for that, I am completely proud of myself for coming up with such a brilliant idea. Some of the kids, we used duct tape because I knew that rope was not going to be strong enough for their weak asses. They were not going to give up with trying to get the bottle off of their hands, so we duct taped it to them. And my running back, actually, we duct taped bottles all over his entire body. So if a kid hit him, they were going to probably shatter a bottle and be seriously damaged and cut, which, you got to know how to take a punishing hit and how to fight through that. So it really brought a lot of fire to the defense. That being said, we did have to cut practice short early because a couple of the kids lost a little too much blood and were sent to the hospital. And so then I had to deal with all the paperwork of that. And honestly, I just don't like filling out paperwork. I don't even know that I did it correct, but that was pretty good. So practice has started off pretty well this spring. So getting ready for the draft, have a lot of ideas. Jordo's finally getting a little bit back in shape. I will not allow that to happen again next year. I only got him for one more year, so I got to really control his diet and things after this. Because honestly, I'm having to work that man to death. And I'm a little worried about his legs, come the end of the season and playoff time, if I've really got to keep working him like this for this long. So we'll see what happens. We're going to get some more supplements into his diet that are fat-cutting pills and things like that. So hopefully that'll assist. Other than that, more sports happening this week. Keep watching them. See what happens in the NBA. But as I discussed earlier, I'm not even sure that I'll be watching, but maybe. So, yeah, that's about it. So this has been Letterman's Thoughts on Sports and other stuff.
Yeah, here I am, I'm drunk again. Yeah, here I am, I'm drunk again. I'm drunk because you're no longer with me. Yeah, here I am, I'm drunk again. I said I'd never do it again. I swore my ways that I would mend, but you cheated on me and that's a sin. Yeah, here I am, I'm drunk again. I'm drunk because that you are gone. At the bar I'm standing all alone, drowning my sorrows deep within. Yeah, here I am, I'm drunk again.
Thank you, Coach. Red Womacki here, clinical and experimental psychologist. My work takes me all over the world, where I work with famous athletes, CEOs, and Fortune 500 wannabes. Why do they want to see me? It's simple. I have great organizational skills, and I'm very forceful over the phone and in person. Why? Because that's what alphas do. And that's what these people are looking for. They're looking for that alpha mood, that alpha brain, that alpha size, that alpha takeover. Whether it's the boardroom, the courtroom, the stock room, or other rooms, being the alpha is always key. I came across Coach, this great man, when I was in a parking lot one day going to get my you don't need to know. But I saw him with 10 kids lined up on one side and one kid lined up on the other. And then he said, hike, and those 10 kids promptly pummeled that one child into the ground in what he called Oklahoma drills. I don't know what I'd call them, but I'd call it the most alpha move I've ever seen. Once I saw that poor single child lay down on the ground and start whimpering, I realized he must only have a mother and is lacking proper father support, which is why Coach Letterman, the great American he is, lent it to that child. And now that child is limping around, confident as he ever could be. Since that moment of excellence, I have decided to work with Coach Letterman in his pursuit to strengthen the mind and resolve of these young boys. In a day and age where these boys are raised to be betas, we will make them alphas. We will craft them into the alpha that this country needs. The top dog, the head wolf, the big dick swinging betwixt my legs. Do you see that? I just alphaed you, and you're only listening to me. These are the types of lessons Coach Letterman is looking for and looking to instill in these young children. So he's brought me in to talk a little bit about sports and to teach these kids who's alphaing in what sport and who is about to break in what sport. With these life lessons, these kids can go forward and learn to rule the world. So without further ado, we're getting into our alpha move of the week. And this week, we're looking at the NBA and NBA playoffs. First, we're going to look at who's breaking in the NBA playoffs. And for who's breaking, we need to turn to the Houston Rockets. Though they are putting up a great fight against the Golden State Warriors, they seem to be having a little bit of trouble on one of their ends. What end is that? Well, it's their point guard, Mr. 4'11", number 3, Chris Paul himself. If this man's not close to breaking, I don't know who is. This man's tiny frame seems to be flopping all over the floor as soon as anybody touches him. A single arm, a fingertip, whammo! Chris Paul hits the floor. This man's body must be so tiny and so underweight against these 7-foot giants, him only being 4'11", and I'm guessing from the looks of him about 96 pounds. This sickly, frail young man can't seem to stand up against these 7-foot giants. And when he does get up, he runs right over those refs barking like a little tiny junkyard dog. Maybe not a junkyard, maybe a front yard or a backyard, maybe a side yard dog. Like a small side yard dog. He barks at those refs and they don't like it. They give him that T symbol, or is it a cross? I'm not sure. I do not follow Christianity. But he is angry and he does not seem to be getting the calls he is looking for. What are those calls? I am not quite sure, because just like Christianity, I do not follow the NBA for its sporting purposes, only for its alpha moves. And alpha moves is exactly what Chris Paul looks like he doesn't have when he looks like he's about to weep small tears from his tiny side yard dog eyes. So with all that down, we give out our breaking point of the week to Chris Paul's flopping. Congratulations, Chris. It's not exactly an award you can win, but there's only one way to go from here. Following my steps. Following Red Womacki's plan to the alpha move of the week. And that alpha move is going to take us out west from Houston. How far west? Not the Warriors. No, not in California. No, we're going to look at Denver, Colorado. The place looking to legalize psilocybin mushrooms. Thank you, guys. We've all been waiting for this moment. I personally haven't been waiting. I've just been using them and using them illegally on people. But that's what I do, because someone has to push forward these dangerous and non-medical procedures on people. So who are we looking at in Denver? Jamal Murray? Will Barton? No, we're looking at a man looking like he was born in a Serbian marshmallow factory, Nikola Jokic. Can he run? No. Can he shoot? Yes. Can he jump? Certainly no. But can he stand out on the court looking like the most unathletic man and then continue to dominate? Dominate at his speed, which is slow, very slow, like those marshmallow feet are stuck to the ground on a hot summer day. As he slowly shuffles what I can only assume are Rice Krispie treat feet across the floor, he bumbles and stumbles and passes his way into a triple-double. This man with a nose that always looks like it's runny and a face that only a mother could, well, maybe not a mother could love, but another woman. Maybe women like him, I don't know. But with alpha moves like that, he won't have to worry about it, because he'll have enough money to buy the expensive type of love. No, that doesn't mean a prostitute. That means a woman who will drain him of all his money shortly and swiftly, because he's never kissed a woman. So with great respect and admiration, I give this soft, doughy marshmallow body our alpha move of the week in the NBA playoffs. Thank you, Coach, for my time. This is Red Womacki, clinical and experimental psychologist, signing off. Red Womacki here, clinical and experimental psychologist, cat lover, and notorious shoot-from-the-hip attitude. I'm currently enrolling subjects for my new study, Everybody Has a Breaking Point, the Guantanamo Studies. This study will be held on an offshore drilling rig in what I'm told is international waters. We're looking for numerous, excited people, ages 3 to anything willing to sign a liability form waiving us from any and all expected harm. Do you think you have no fears? Do you think you have a lot of fears? It doesn't really matter. Everybody breaks eventually.
Welcome back, everybody. So, NFL draft reaction. Let's get to it. All right, I'm ready to get going. All right, this is Coach's NFL Breakdown. Starting it off, Arizona Cardinals. Listen, you walked away with 9 people to play for them next year. And by people, I mean non-SEC players. In total, they drafted 11 players, but only 2 of them are going to actually be able to contribute to what they have to go through. And that is Lamonte Gillard from Georgia and Deontay Thompson from Alabama. Those are the only 2 impact players that they're going to have in this draft. Now, I know what you're thinking. Coach, what about Kyler Murray? Well, let me tell you about Kyler frickin' Murray. He's garbage. Garbage. This dude will not translate to the NFL. I have watched so much of his tape, and let me tell you something. This dude's arm is not that impressive. People keep thinking, oh, he's got such a big arm, he's a baseball player, all this stuff. Baseballs are not the size of footballs. Just because you can throw a baseball doesn't mean you can throw a football well. And I'm not so sure that he can throw a baseball well. I'm just telling you, this dude has no chance to succeed in the NFL. No chance, all right? He couldn't even beat Texas twice. Twice. And this is Texas, all right? He, let alone compete well against an SEC team. Which, again, we talked about, most dominant group in the NFL, already discussed this. Also, I read somewhere that you can always bank on a Washington corner to be dominant. I'm not sure where that idea came from, because SEC corners are literally all over the NFL, and we are some of the best and most dominant players in the NFL. So I don't know where this idea that having yourself a good corner from Washington is going to really make your team that much better. What? Don't even get started with me. So they took a Washington corner way too early. Way too early. Bust all over it. Their first 5 rounds, honestly, are all busts. So, big fat D for you, Arizona Cardinals. Moving on, Atlanta Falcons. D-. You didn't draft a single SEC player, not one. You are literally moments down the road from the University of Georgia. How do you not find an SEC player? Not one. You addressed 0 of your actual needs and opted for crappy offensive linemen. Now, it's not comically bad, but it's about as close as you can get, and I'm real pissed off. So, I am officially opening up my NFL fandom to other franchises. I'm done with Atlanta. I am done. Ever since the whole meltdown in the draft, ever since the whole meltdown in the Super Bowl, I'm done. I cannot do it anymore. Atlanta, you're out. I'm not depending on you. I'm not leaning on you. Get out of here. You're incompetence. I'm done with it. I don't deal with incompetence. So Atlanta, goodbye. D- to you. Coach Letterman out. All other NFL franchises, I will accept bribes in terms of jerseys of Georgia players on your team and Fireball whiskey, because I have to buy a lot of that for the 100-shot challenge coming up. So send it my way. But Atlanta, I'm done with you. You're gone. Next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens. A C. Now, this might surprise some people, but I do actually really respect Marquise Brown. He is actually a very physical run blocker. A lot of people think, oh no, he's just speed, that's all he is. No. He's a good run blocker. And I know Oklahoma doesn't run the ball that much, but the times that they run behind him, he's actually quite effectively been able to downfield block. He's pretty physical. He's able to go up and high point the ball really well. He's got great hands. And honestly, he probably would have scored about 20 more touchdowns this season if Kyler Murray had been able to throw the ball deep. There were several times where Hollywood Brown had to slow down and let defenders catch up to him so that he could catch the ball. So, well done getting him. You got yourself a couple SEC players. I mean, you got yourself one SEC player, basically. So, that's really what gives you the C. That's what brings you back so far. Also, you all drafted the FBS leader in sacks. Now, he did not play in the SEC, so that stat is a little bit swayed because he's not playing the greatest competition on earth. But that's still impressive. So, Jalen Ferguson, good grab. I mean, somebody who's going to lead the FBS in sacks. That's impressive. You need it if in the NFL and, you know, Louisiana Tech, whatever. Sometimes good players are out there and they're not SEC players. Like my quarterback, Jordo. He hasn't played in the SEC yet, but, you know, he played for me, so it's like the SEC, but just an option. So, really, you only get a C, Baltimore, because you only took one SEC player. So that drops you, but it's a nice first 2 rounds for you. Now we have the New England Patriots, and I just... You're getting a B+, New England. Because I cannot bring myself to give you asshats an A. I just can't. But dang it, I'm like 90% certain, which is basically a guarantee of correctness at this point, that the freaking New England Patriots got better. N'Keal Harry might have played for Arizona State, but he has great hands and is a good pass blocker, is a good downfield blocker. And honestly, if you're the New England Patriots, you happen to have one of the other 3 running backs in the whole country who doesn't need anybody to block for him in Sony Michel. So, well done getting better there. And then you got 5 SEC players. Talk about maximizing what you need. And then you pulled an alpha move just like Cleveland did which is a weird sentence to say, and you freaking drafted a punter. Again, any special teams drafting is a very alpha move, so well done, you selfish dicks. Way to go, New England. I hate that I have to say those words, but well done. Moving on from that weird void of a life, New Orleans. All right, Saints, you're getting a B- here, but here's the deal. You got 2 of your 5 players from the SEC, which is not bad odds at all, so good job there. But you didn't get any help where you actually needed it the most. I mean, your secondary could use a little bit of help, and your offensive line you needed help, so I understood taking Mack, and some of your other players, good choices. But you still didn't get yourself a wide receiver. That's what you need. It's the only thing you lacked to get yourself as far as you could be. I mean, you were super dominant last year. But everybody knew they figured out that if you just cover Michael Thomas, this team is going to run out of options. And you did. And then you didn't take any other options. And it's not like there weren't wide receivers there. They had plenty available for you to take. You just didn't get them. So when you choose not to help yourself be better, that to me is a sign of weak character and low football IQ. So low football IQ to you, Saints, B-. But you get into the B's because, I mean, you got 2 out of 5 as SEC players, so that's pretty good odds. And now, the New York Giants. F+. The only reason you do not bottom out on this is because you took 3 SEC players. One being my favorite player in the entire draft this year, which is DeAndre Baker. And a semi-SEC player in Dexter Lawrence. Now, other teams take this many SEC players and they get C grades. They do. I mean, you can listen to the rest of the podcast. They got C's at this. Some of them have even gotten low B's. However, here's the problem for you. You took a player from Duke, an ACC school who was known for basketball. And you took a QB from Duke at 6. Are you kidding me? You all do not deserve DeAndre Baker. He just happened to fall to you. Your team is a joke. This guy wasn't even able to be competitive in a game against Clemson, who is only sort of an SEC team. And that's just on my standards. I do not respect many non-SEC QBs, but this might be the worst first-round QB draft pick since Ryan Leaf. And I see it. I just see it. It's a joke. And I don't care that his head coach was the same one that coached Peyton and the same one that coached Eli. No. David Cutcliffe, whatever, he's got Bill. I don't care. I'm not talking about David Cutcliffe at this point. I'm talking about Daniel stupid frickin' Jones. He is a joke of a player. How in the world could you had an opportunity to take Josh Allen. He had fallen to you, which meant in the first round you could have gone Josh Allen, Dexter Lawrence, and DeAndre Baker. And then gotten yourself a quarterback. Or been smart and waited till next year to try to get Jake Fromm. But no, you took Daniel Jones at 6. Honestly, if you had a team of Josh Allen, Dexter Lawrence, and DeAndre Baker, that is a defense that is about to wreck some assholes in the NFL. Instead, you took a QB who looks like he got shoved out of one. This is a joke of a pick on a joke of a team. I mean, I guess you can hand the ball off just fine, which is what the Rams do anyways. I mean, honestly, Giants, I guess you could go and just, hand the ball off a whole lot to Saquon Barkley, which is what the Rams do. They give it to their best player, and Jared Goff's an off quarterback, so maybe you can turn this into a positive, but that's pretty bad. So, DeAndre, from a passionate UGA fan, I sincerely apologize to you. I wish the best for you once free agency rolls around, because get yourself out of that situation. Now the New York Jets. Now, y'all took who you should have taken, okay? I don't think I need to remind everyone of how high I am on Quentin Williams. He is a great player, and he's a real monster. That giant bar of soap is going to be an NFL stud. Then you go out and get yourself Ja'Kai Polite. Make that defensive line real scary to go and chase after old man Brady, so nice move there. However, you did not finish strong, which is what gives you the C, because I think you still have blaring needs at wide receiver and running back. Do not even get me started on Le'Veon Bell. So, well done at the start, but you could have gotten some good weapons later on, and you did not. So, that gives you an A of a draft with a C. Then Oakland Raiders. F-. Yes, that's right, folks. F-. There is a team that did worse than the New York Giants. And I know that in the classic academia setting, you can only go as far down as an F because failing is failing, but not in my house and not in my classroom, which is the game of football. In fact, in my grading scale, you can get an E for as bad as my X. See, no team has ever been that bad, though, except for the 2012 East City Buffalo. They were god-awful, and I gave them a hard F-. And then I was like, you know what? Nope, you're so bad, you need an extra letter. You need an E. That's how terrible you are. So, just so everyone's aware, there is a grade out there that I can give you if you try to do anything and you just happen to be piss in your fireball, pour it on your Letterman jacket, bad at it, and I will drop that E on you if you do that. I will. I'll bring it out and I will drop it on you. So, beware the E, folks. Beware the E. Raiders, though, you got real confused. I think you thought Clemson is actually in the SEC, but they are not. They just happen to play us a few times a year. I mean, you could have taken Josh Allen, who I believe is possibly the best pass rusher in this draft, but you did not. Instead, you took a player who could possibly have been there later on in the draft, like when you were going to draft 2 more times. Listen, getting cute is all fine, and trying to get cutesy and find yourself a player with greater value than his pick is and whatever, that's great. And getting dressed up to the nines and all that stuff is great. But do not bring that shit into my house. That is pathetic. Now, you took Josh Jacobs, which is good because Beast Mode retired on you, so you needed somebody to fill that hole. And Jonathan Abram is a half-decent safety, so nice move there. And honestly, your pick of Trayvon Mullen really wasn't that bad. But you took Pharrell so high that your ship was already sinking real fast. Then to top it all off, you went out and got one of my players who I said you should not draft. I mean, the guy I said was the number 1 do not draft this guy player in Hunter Renfrow. Honestly, John, it's like you did not listen to my podcast or watch my Periscope last week. Come on, man. I was dropping dimes of knowledge. Oakland Raiders, soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders, you all are not worthy of Las Vegas. However, you will fit in with the rest of the state of Nevada. Maybe you and the University of Nevada should go and form your own, one big super team called the Disappointments, as people who disappointed Coach Letterman. God, Oakland, you're about to lose the right to share any of the letters that you have with Oakley, who are sunglasses that I wear the off-brand of. It is sad, Oakland. You are sad, pathetic little football team. Awful. Now we get to Philadelphia Eagles. I'm giving you a hard D-. Now listen, I really respect Coach Doug Peterson. Anybody who's going to go out there and call the same exact play that the team before you had run just to prove that you can do it better than them and score a touchdown with it is pretty impressive. That's a ballsy move. And to do it against Tom Brady brings me a lot of joy. I watched that, what you all call the Philly special, and it brought me a lot of happiness. A lot of happiness. That being said, you took one good player this whole draft. I mean, you needed to fill a hole that was eventually going to come up. And getting Dillard, listen, you know what I think about Washington State. I really respect Mike Leach. I've talked about him already. And this is a good tackle who can play left tackle, which is a hard position to play. And so well done there. There were other SEC players you could have taken that were tackles. I get it. You like this guy more. Apples and oranges, but honestly, apples are better than oranges. So you took an orange, and it is what it is. But then you went out there and you're like, hey, we also need a running back. Let's take one from Penn State, because that's worked out well for the Giants. Okay, listen, this dude was that guy's backup, wasn't near as good in college, let alone, he's not going to be Saquon Barkley. He's just not. And then you wanted a wide receiver. Not bad to have a wide receiver. Especially, you might want to get rid of Nelson Aguilar. That's fine. You want to move on from him, do something new. DK Metcalf is available. Take him. Well done. Nice way to get him. But no, you took JJ, can't pronounce his last name, idiot of a player, out of Stanford. Are you kidding me? DK Metcalf's available, and you're going to take a guy who is nowhere near the physical freak that he is? Bad drafting there. And then you wanted more Penn State action. I don't know why. Bad choice there. And then you get a QB. You've got 2 quarterbacks. You don't need a quarterback. And then you take a quarterback who got beat by Butch Jones. Now, that was an okay Tennessee team with Josh Dobbs and Alvin Kamara and Derek Barnett on it. But he still got beat by Butch Jones, which is an embarrassment of all embarrassments. So that was real bad. That was really bad there, Philadelphia. So D-, and you almost got an F. If not for the Dillard move, you'd have had an F. But it wasn't comically bad, so just D-. Moving on, Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Pittsburgh, you all are some sly dogs, you know that? I told everyone Benny Snell was going to get drafted despite all the hate that he was getting, and you did it. You drafted that man. Now, you only took 2 SEC players altogether, which is a little underwhelming, especially when you get a wide receiver out of Toledo. But you now have someone to effectively run the football for you in Steeltown, which will be a first since Jerome Bettis. So well done there. Way to finally get yourself a running back who can help carry your team for the first time ever. Now, if only you could get yourself an offensive coordinator, maybe like a living legend who coaches youth football, lives in North Georgia, has a fantastic waterbed, just an option. An offensive coordinator who realizes that, hey, if Big Ben throws the ball 40 times, we're in a close game. If he throws it 50, we lose. Maybe we should run the ball more. Just saying, it's a possibility. So, Coach Tomlin, Mikey Tom, hit me up. I can come out there and help you out. Just a possibility. Just a possibility, Pittsburgh. Just a possibility. Now we're going to move on to Seattle Seahawks, who I'm giving a C. Honestly, Seattle, you deserve a lower grade than this. I mean, you didn't do great. You only got 1 SEC player. But you got a fantastic SEC player at a place that he should not have been drafted at. You somehow scared the rest of the NFL into letting you pick DK Metcalf at the end of the 2nd round. I mean, that was incredible. When I saw y'all take him there, I was like, that is amazing. But you didn't get any other SEC players besides that, so Also, I would like to say I clearly inspired both DK Metcalf and Coach Carroll as they both took their shirts off during their meeting and to show off their bodies. So you all are welcome for that alpha move that I've now taught you from atop my fountain. But I respect it. It's a baller move. It's my move, but it's a baller move. So thank you all for paying attention. Thus, you earn a C for Coach Letterman. Now the San Francisco 49ers. That's a whopping C. Honestly, you deserve lower than that also. Because here's the thing. You got 3 SEC players. And I'm giving you that. Because that's good. But you also drafted one of my players who I said do not draft. And you decided to draft him. You decided to draft the younger brother. So be prepared for that disappointment to rain down. But you also drafted Deebo Samuel, who is an all-around weapon. Like I said, I once watched him play Tennessee, and I'm pretty sure he threw a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown, and possibly had a pick six. I mean, this dude can pretty much do everything for you. So Kyle Shanahan, figure out how to use that weapon well. Then, I respect that guy's game. Also, you took Jalen Hurd, who he played in the SEC for a while, played for Tennessee, and Tennessee was just dumb enough not to turn him into a wide receiver. But let me tell you something. Jalen Hurd is one of the most vicious downfield blockers I've ever seen. I have a lot of respect. He might be the best downfield blocker his side of the Mississippi River. We all know who it is on this side of the Mississippi River. It's me. But on his side, it might be Mr. Hurd. I once watched him, in complete joy, I watched him decimate a Florida defender who was trying to come after Josh Dobbs. I watched him decleat this man, stand over him, and dare him to get up off the ground. It was incredible. So if he can bring that tenacity as a wide receiver, that's a deadly combo of talent that you can use. So not bad for those couple of rounds there. And you would have gotten a much higher grade, but you also drafted Bosa. So you'd already started off the disappointment. So here's a little bit more for you. There's a C. Now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A B. Listen, Bucks, you needed all the help that you could get, and you got a lot of it. At the positions you actually needed it the most. Linebacker, for instance. Listen, I do not hold against you all that you could have chosen Josh Allen. I don't. Because we saw New York and Oakland pass on him. And that is a quick way to get yourselves a failing grade. But you took a player you needed more as Devin White. You needed that linebacker. You needed you needed someone to solidify the middle of your defense. And then you got 3 more SEC players to bolster that wildly underperforming defense. So now that defense is pretty solid. I was thinking about giving you guys an A, honestly, Tampa Bay, about really building yourselves into something pretty good. But you also took a place kicker. And earlier I talked about how that is an alpha move, but it's only an alpha move if you are a good team, which Tampa Bay is not. So you probably should have gotten yourselves another player who could have helped you out, but instead you came back again and drafted a place kicker. So maybe not the best move there, Tampa Bay. But overall, I'll give you a B. Nice move. Now we move on to the Tennessee Titans. B+. Tennessee, you are headed the right direction. Well done on getting a good defensive lineman who can actually fill your defense out a bit with a little bit of youth, because right now you're looking pretty old. So nice job there, especially in a division with Andrew Luck and Sean Watson. You got to get some pass rush, so good job there. And then you also got one of the most underrated receivers in the draft in A.J. Brown, who I know he is related to Antonio supposedly, so that does not inspire me for his downfield blocking skills, but he is very fast, so that can help out Marcus Mariota a little bit. I mean, DeAndre Walker, he's a legit linebacker, so, that's going to be pretty good for you all. Trust me, I'm a Georgia fan, so I know what good linebackers look like. I know Roquan Smith, and this dude's a good player. DeAndre Walker will really help y'all out. So nice move there, Tennessee. Honestly, that's a pretty good move. I'm pleased with that. So good job there, Tennessee. You're on the right path to getting me as a fan, maybe. Now the Washington Redskins. C-. Maybe a D+, but I'm gonna firmly land on a C-. Listen, this team was an emotional roller coaster to watch draft because they started real bad taking Haskins. I mean, bad. And Dwayne Haskins, I'm pretty sure, is destined to be a failure in the NFL. Just an absolute failure. But then you turn around and you take Montez Sweat, who I think is going to be a beast. And then you turn back around, you head back up to Ohio and take a crappy wide receiver. But then you turn around and get Bryce Love, who I am very high on, despite the fact that he did not play in the SEC as a running back. But he's a pretty good running back, so impressive there. Well, then you turn around and you head to freaking Indiana and you get yourself a lineman, which, unless Bob Knight coached the O-line in Indiana, he's probably trash. But then you go and get yourself a guard from Alabama. And I was like, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I was like, F, A, B, C, what am I going to grade these? But then there you went and you headed the right direction, your normal Redskins way. And in true Redskin fashion, you left your fans with a trail of tears of bad picks at the end of the draft. So you get a C because you had a couple good ones, but you get a minus because there were more bad than good. So rough stuff there. Folks, that gets us through the NFL draft. What a whirlwind. What a time. Pretty emotional. Those are my thoughts, though. So this has been Coaches NFL Breakdown. So this is this week's podcast. No videos out this week. I'm spending my entire time in training, and honestly, I don't want to ruin a lot of the things we're set up for you all. There's going to be some surprises, a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time next week. So no videos this week. As you notice, there won't be anything else coming out really about it until next week, when we are ready to dive straight back into the excitement of the 100-shot challenge. There may not be a podcast next week because, honestly, my entire life is going to be built around that moment because you all deserve this. You deserve to watch me do this. And so I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you what you helped me get, which is 100,000 followers. Listen, when we get to 200, I'm not going to do 200 shots, but we'll do something exciting. We'll do some kind of really exciting, fun, something. We'll figure it out. So keep trying to tweet out there, get people doing that. Like, follow, subscribe, tweet at things, tweet at me. We talked earlier, make that tweets, everybody. It's a really exciting time, so we're gonna dive into that. So I'll see you all next week for the 100-shot challenge. Please tune in during that to watch greatness at arguably what will be my greatest achievement, which will then quickly be eclipsed when I win the next youth football championship. But it'll be my greatest moment at the time. I never really stopped peaking, so the thing I've done the last thing I've done is always the greatest thing. So welcome to listening to the greatest thing I've done so far. Yep, that's about all I got for you. So, try to be more like me, because that's the point of this whole podcast thing, is for you all to be more like me so we can make the world better. That's about all I got. And let's go, dogs. Row, 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 row.